And you know, here on the Drip Fed Dread, we talk about the craziest shit. Who the fuck is knocking on my door this late at night? Let me in. Who the hell are you? I don't want any trouble. It's me, your #1 fan, Thaddeus T. Pickles. I comment on every single one of your videos. Didn't you notice my handle? Young Dagger Dick.
You really let me down when you didn't post episode 4 of it. It pissed me off.
Dude, my video's been flopping non-stop. Every time I post an episode about Welcome to Derry, I get no views, so what the fuck is the point of it? Well, dude, we want to see it. We would love to see that. Could you please just do the review now? You know, I thought people wanted to know what I thought about episode 4 and 5, but you know, but it's clear they don't. Dude, your Halloween shit hits. The spooky stuff, dude. I love long walks in fucking haunted houses. No, I'm not gonna do the review. I'm not. So get the fuck out of my room, politely go. Dip out. Oh God, why do you look like me? I don't look anything like you. You're chopped. I'll tell you what. You're gonna do this review. Or else I'm gonna make you do the review. I got The Shining. I'm like that one blood from that one Stephen King book. Where is The Shining? Misery? Fuck. Anyhow, you're gonna sit down. You're gonna what? You're gonna sit down. You're gonna sit down. What, you think you got The Shining, bro? I think you just got like autism or something. Tell me what you thought about episode 4 and 5. Go ahead, do it. Oh. Maybe I'm tripping, but that Pennywise origin tale kind of reminded me of that Predator movie prequel a little bit. What up, y'all? Welcome back to Phantom of the India Review. That's right, we are back on it again, talking about episode 4 of Welcome to Derry. Let's get into it. Again, this episode, it wasn't the most boring. Again, I really appreciate the fact that Andy Muschietti and his team of writers are crafting a well-balanced melodrama and writing out very detailed moments and kind of holding back on the scares. So when they do come, they are more serviceable. Right now in the episode, the 4 kids are still trying to figure out what this clown is. They go to Officer Bowers, Chief Bowers himself, and they're like, dude, we got some pictures that are going to prove that Ronnie's dad is innocent. I finally remember her name. I kept calling her Charlotte all these episodes. Anyhow, they're looking at the pictures, and they're like, all these pictures are duds. They're like, but no, that one looks like a clown. They're like, dude, if you guys keep sneaking around town at night, we're going to show you something way more scarier than a clown, dude. You're in trouble. You're going to jail. Lily, you're going back to Juniper Hill, you crazy little bitch. So the kids are stuck in a stalemate. While all this is going on, Sergeant Hanlon, who his son, as we know, is one of the kids that is involved in that chaos and finding the picture of the clown. His wife is up to no good. She's trying to, you know, politically advocate for Ronnie's father's innocence because she was a part of the civil rights movement and all that stuff down south. She keeps alluding that she was kind of a troublemaker. Not a troublemaker, you know, an activist trying to help people in their human rights. But, you know, that's frowned upon in the late 60s because people are racist bastards. She interrogates and she's like, yo, dude, I need to talk to Mr. Grogan. I need to interview him. And if you don't, I'm going to pick up the phone, call JFK, RDF. All the other fucking MLK. She's like, I'll call Martin Luther King myself because these guys were alive at this time. It's like, I wonder if Pennywise is the reason they all got murked. No, too soon. But she gets an interview and she goes to talk to him and she's like, you realize you're going to go to prison and you're never going to see your daughter again. Where were you? He's like, I did not kill those kids. I didn't fucking do it. I did not do it. I did not kill them. She's like, what happened? He's like, all right, I'll be real with you. And then we find out the truth. I hooked up with a shorty. She was married. She was a white girl. Dummy thick girl. And it's like, now we see why he was hiding a secret, because that's instant death. That's instant murder. Like, he can go to prison for killing these kids, but if he hooked up with a white lady during those times, they would have hung him out back because white men are insecure, delusional bastards. Hey, I know, I'm not trying to be that Karen, but it's true. So yeah, the kids are trying to figure out what's going on with Pennywise. We find out Ronnie's father was up to no good during the midst of this. You know, what's his face? Fuck. Dick Halloran gets like a little abandoned shed for his homies to party in, since he did all the Shining stuff and all this like communication with Pennywise. They're like, you've done so much. How can we help you? He's like, the perk is I just need a place for the kickback with the boys. They go to this place and he starts to get a weird energy from it. Something is off. Something dark happened in that area. Meanwhile, Sergeant Hanlon is fishing with his homeboy, his son, Will. And, they're catching fish, shooting the shit. He's like, I heard you got a girlfriend. He's like, yeah, Dad, I like her, but there's some weird stuff going on in town. I don't know what it is. He's like, kids will be kids. Goes back to his car for a tackle box. When we see in the still, barren waters of Derry, a fish swim up. And believe it or not, it's a clownfish. That's clever. Pulls Will under and he sees a burnt to crisp version of his dad saying, you'll burn too. And he shoots up. Dad comes running. He's like, there's something crazy going on in this town, dude. I don't know. I got pulled underwater and I saw you burnt to a crisp. There's something haunting this town, Dad. And his dad believes him, which, little side fact, I know I didn't touch much on this, but I feel like this is a very crucial and cool part. We all know, this is not a spoiler. If it is, just skip like a few seconds. But in It Chapter 2, we know that, in It Chapter 1 and 2, we know that Mike Hanlon's dad died tragically in a fire. His parents died tragically in a fire, and his grandpa, Sergeant Leroy, is taking care of him. The fact that this Pennywise entity pulled him underwater and said, you'll burn too, and spits him back out, I wonder if that's coincidental or a foreshadow, knowing that it's going to get him all along. It's just haunting all around. So Sergeant Hanlon goes to Dick hollering, and he believes his son Will. He's like, dude, he told me this town's cursed. Something pulled him under the water that looked just like me. What is going on? He's like, I just follow my orders. I advise you mind your business. But Mike Hanlon goes straight to the point and talks to the sergeant captain of the military himself. While all this is happening, we get the one brutal it attack where all, the patty cake popular girls are making fun of Lily at lunch. They set up this boy to talk to her, and one of those cliche Carrie moments where it's like, we have a crush on you, we love you, but they're gonna embarrass her. And her little friend Marge, or whatever the hell, is like, sets it up. But then she starts to feel guilt, goes to the bathroom. She's like, I have something to tell you. And as she says this, she starts getting a crucial migraine, and her eyes pop out of her head like a slug, like a parasite, which is crazy because that kind of scared her in class. They were watching a video on parasites and slugs. So obviously that proves that that's something that scared her. And she starts freaking out, running around. You see her giant eyes waving around. She runs to the wood shop, finds this buzzsaw thing, and cuts her eye off. And as Lily saw all this, tried to help her, tried to stop her, she holds her down. She's like, what? I need to help you. But the class walks in, and it looks like Lily did this to her friend. Another little side note, not trying to be discombobulated, I thought it was funny that they took like a Freddy Krueger approach where like, oh, my mom takes these pills every time she's sad or scared, and it really calms her down, so let's take them. So I wonder if, again, we know in It Chapter 1 and 2, Mike's dad dies, and they're like, oh, Junkie died in a fire. I wonder if like he become hooked on these Xannies because of Lily. I might just be piecing the things together, but it makes sense to me. So yeah, everything unfolds, and then finally Sergeant Hanlon, Major Hanlon, goes to his boss. He's like, dude, keep it real with me, keep it 8 more than 92 with me, what's going on? He's like, all right, let's go, I'll show you. They go to this interrogation room, and the little native boy who is like son or nephew to Rose, the girl who's trying to dig all the details out of Derry and figure out where the status stands with Pennywise. He's sitting inside the fucking interrogation room, and Dick comes in. He's like, y'all gonna tell us what's going on? Because if you don't, you're gonna be in a world full of hurt. And the dude's like, get wrecked, shorty. I ain't telling you nada. So Dick shines into this boy's mind, and this is where we get the final reveal of what Pennywise really is. And again, it's like a story. It goes into his mind, and it's a young little native boy sitting on the ground playing with toys. And it's his Aunt Rose. She comes in, she goes, do you remember exactly the story of the Galoo, the monster that haunts our town? He recites the story back. He's like, I heard the story a bunch since I was 5 years old. I know it like the back of my hand. And essentially, meteor crashes down to Earth. It's capsulated, and then for millions of years it is left unfucked with pretty much. And then the natives come around and they discover it. They cut off a piece of it, and it unleashes Pennywise spirit, and he haunts the area and is constantly killing people until there's a final little war where they're like, we're going to kill this Galoo once or twice, one final time. And the thing I liked about it was the representation of him. It was kind of like this weird Wendigo deer hooved creature looking thing, which that scared natives back in the day, so it's really cool. And then they start to slaughter it, but the little boy's like, and during this war, this creature came back and shape-shifted and transformed into everybody's worst fears. Like, you see zombies, weird creatures, and then for one specific person, like a white colonist who's taking over because they're afraid of white men. I get it, dude. And essentially, the piece that they broke off the meteor is pretty much like Pennywise's kryptonite, or like thing that keeps him bound. So after they banish him with this piece of kryptonite and realize that they bury every piece around all the woods, the western woods, which ends up being pretty much the outline of Derry. So that is why Derry is so haunted, because Pennywise is trapped within that region. And I feel like it's cool too, because the natives back in the day when all the white men were slaughtering them and killing them, they're like, oh, no, don't, oh, you guys can take over those woods. Yeah, we'll be fine. Like, fuck you. Y'all about to get got by the glue. And then snap back to reality. Dick was like, all right, thank you so much. Like, he looks down at the little boy. He goes, thank you for telling me everything. Now show me exactly where those pillars are buried. And then he goes through a door, and they show none other than Humboldt Street, that scary ass house from It Chapter 1 and 2, where all the chaos begins. And then you're like, oh snap. Bounces out of it, and then the episode ends. And then all in all, dude, this episode, like I said, it wasn't the most exciting. It was pretty fun. It was pretty cool. You know, we got glimpses of Pennywise once when Will is looking through his fucking telescope at night, and he sees down in the figure a little shadowy figure of Pennywise. But he looked different. He had like a white face, black nose, more of an older clown style. We had some pretty cool scares with the Baron and the fish scene, the girl with her eye getting cut off because they looked like a slug. It's unraveling the story more and more, and I'm excited to see. Oh, dude, episode 4 was crazy. Oh. Do episode 5. Do episode 5. And then we get into episode 5, which, yes, I am proud to announce, finally, they have unveiled Pennywise the Dancing Clown in the form you know him. The episode starts off, understandably so, like the most of us. Major Hanlon, upset with what he just witnessed. He just saw this young native boy go through the ringer with Dick Halloran, and he's like, what the hell is going on? And the captain of the whole place is like, all right, it's time for you to finally know. We will explain everything to you. And as we saw, he lets Major know about Dick Halloran and his ability to shine, about the creature and its origins, and he's straight up like, yo, you brought me here? You brought me and my family here when you knew there was a fucking ancient evil killer on the loose? He's like, to be fair, we were gonna let you stay on the base and live here pretty much in peace, but you chose to move out. So that's on you, homie. And he's like, well, I'm shipping up Shorty and my boy, and we're moving back on the base. But during all this, the young kids, they're trying to figure out what's going on. They take Will, and he's off on the base. So now it's just Charlotte. So now it's just Ronnie, Lily, Richie. There to fend for themselves. So they go up to their little bell tower thing, and they see a mysterious tent chilling there. They're like, what the hell? Comes peeking out of it. It's boy. Oh, damn, I don't remember his name. Matty, the kid from the first episode that went missing. You're like, oh shit, he's alive and well all along. And he's traumatized. He's like, he keeps you down there. He feeds off your fear. They're like, did you see Teddy? Did you see Phil? Did you see Susie? They're like, dude, Teddy was dead. When he came in, he was eating his brain in front of me. And he left poor little Susie, the little 5-year-old girl, with her arms ripped off, her leg ripped off, to just lay there and bleed out and cry all night until she didn't. But Phil's still alive. He's like, he can't move and he can't talk. The deadlight. So he's traumatized. Like, we have to go down in the sewers now. He's like, no, please, 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 no. And while these kids decide to go down into the sewer, also, the military chooses to also, because Dick finds out that the underground sewers lead to the pillars of these buried artifacts, that they need to destroy it once and for all, or at least keep him on his leash. So they get the SWAT team, the military, the boys, the guns and blazing, and they go to Neibolt Street straight up. First and foremost, that old creepy decrepit house. SWAT teams breaking in. It's such a grand entrance. It captures each corner and crevice of that house hauntingly. It's very ominous and aesthetic. And they're looking, and they find the well. But the thing that trips me out the most about that is before all this happens, Rose, the aunt of the young native kid who got shined by Dick and snitched on the whole, lore of Pennywise pretty much to the military, she goes to the captain himself, and she's like, what is going on here? He's like, I have a confession. A few years back, I popped these pills for an experiment in the military, and it made me remember everything. That's why I had to come back here and stop this once and for all. And she's like, you have to take Daniel, my nephew, with you. He's the only one that knows how to stop it. And we get the scene where she goes into her lockbox and unravels the shrine, that piece of, you know, one of the few pieces of, you know, Pennywise kryptonite that she has, and she gives it to Daniel. She's talking to him in the confession room. He's like, I'm so sorry, Auntie. Like, they drained it out of me, dude. They wrung me out dry. They beat the information out of my head. And she's like, it's all good. You just go down there and keep this safe, keep this protected. Which is huge and kind of, you know, suspicious, because right before this, she is having a little meeting with like the old native people of the town, and they're talking about the Aguari, which is like the final slaughter before the beast slumbers. She's like, there's going to be one final brutal bloodbath before he goes back to sleep, like always. So it got you wondering, is she trying to slaughter these military men and protect Daniel, so that could be the final hurrah so Pennywise can go back to sleep? But the episode unravels, and finally they all go down into the sewers. The thing y'all been waiting for. The 4 kids. Patty, Marge is out of the hospital with her eyes all patched up. You know, they kind of left that on a cliffhanger in episode 4, but they hashed it. She's like, I told everyone you didn't hurt me. You were just trying to help me. I cut my eye. Blah, blah, blah. Smooths over. Lily has a reservation. She goes to see that weird, like, maid lady that works at Juniper Hill still, and she's like, dude, we found Maddie. We're gonna go down the sewers. And she's like, for the love of God, don't. For the love of God, do not go down into the sewers, because you will die. And Lily's like, I promise. Kids be kids, right? During the midst of all this, before I get to the sewer talk, our homeboy, Ronnie's dad, Mr. Grogan, is being taken to fucking Shawshank to face his redemption. He's going to prison, and as he's there, as he's being taken out in handcuffs, some dude comes out of the crowd, tries to kill him, fails miserably, and Charlotte, who's there, is seeing all these weird snippets and images that people in Derry are acting weird and strange. She sees this dude making this creepy smile. People are more aggressive. It is taking over the city, and that's a cool tactic to think of. Not only is he feeding off the fears of the children, he's slowly manipulating the town's adults into being kind of delusional, more aggressive, more chaotic. But as they take Mr. Grogan off into the bus, somehow it mysteriously crashes, and he escapes, and he flees, and he goes to talk to that white girl he had an affair with, and it is none other than Mrs. Kirsch, that little mentor that Lily had this whole time. And we kind of drop it from there. So you're like, okay, he was sleeping with her, and shit's about to hit the fan. So the main part of the episode, down in the sewers, as the little kids go there, they take the fucking Percocets again. She's like, every time my mom's anxious, we pop these pills. We go crazy on these antibars. And they pop them. They're like, this creature feeds off fears. These pills help my mom, so if they help my mom, they'll help us. Which is kind of like a little harmless and childlike thought to have, very like endearing, but also tragic, because they're taking fucking antidepressants. And as they're walking in the tunnel, they're like tripping and hallucinating, like, dude, we might have took too much. And it's kind of funny, because like in the Losers Club's rendition, when you're down in the sewers, it's terrifying and haunting and creepy, lurking around each corner, but they're just like literally high as fuck on these pills. And then, but on the military's ends aspect, when they go down, the soldiers, Halloran, Hanlon, Daniel, and a few of them, they're down there, and they kind of split up and branch off, and the captain warns them before they go down. He says, this creature will see your worst fears. It will be able to manipulate and recreate the things that scare you the most. So if you see something that you think is irrational to be down there, kill it. And as they all split up, Dick Halloran gets dragged under the water, and fucking dead ass, we get this little flashback vision of him with his grandfather, his abusive past. And that is something I want to look into more before I talk about it. There was this weird box. I don't know if that was metaphorical, but it was all chained up. His grandfather knew that Dick and his grandmother had the Shining, and he seemed abusive and chaotic. And I want to look into more about that, so we'll talk about that next episode more for sure. But Dick's gone. These two army dudes are down there when their lights die out, and then we see, creeping out of the darkness, Uncle Sam, I want you, and then Andy Machete CGI jump scare. They kill him. People are getting picked off one by one. Mike, Major Hanlon, and his best friend, who's been with him day one, they're walking down the sewers, and he's like, oh my god, did you see that? Mike pulls out his gun. Hanlon pulls out his gun, and it's his wife. His homie is like, dude, what are you looking at? He goes, Charlotte, is that you? Is that you? And as she charges, he shoots it dead. And then he sees, as it gets dragged into the water, it has that creepy little Pennywise smile on. He's like, that is fucking absurd. Looks over at his homie. He's like, anytime you see something down here that looks like someone you love, your old fucking football coach for all I know, if it seems like you know them and they shouldn't be down here, kill them. And that only bites them into the butt. That only bites their butt the next scene. Because all this crazy stuff has happened. We're hearing Pennywise laughing throughout the sewers. You know, Daniel kind of breaks off from the main police captain. And as he's running, he drops his protective dagger into the water. He disappears. Halloran's gone. Things are going insane. Pennywise is lurking. And then we finally get the unveil of Pennywise all down in the sewers. And they're all like, we got to do this. We got to figure out what's going on. And as they get to the main section, the big circle of water that like goes to different tunnels, Maddie's like, this is where it all happened. I swear it was. He's like, I swear it. And they're like, this doesn't seem right. And they just start seeing the dead bodies of everyone they saw floating up, all the kids they knew floating up, including Phil. They're like, Phil's dead too? And all of a sudden you look back and you see Maddie going around a pole, singing to himself, hauntingly and eerie, and it starts building up and building up, and as he's spinning, he's singing Down in the Sewer song. You see him slowly transform into a morphed version of Pennywise. Pennywise's face is on the back of Maddie, and all of a sudden, the grand entrance. That's one thing I love. When you're building up Pennywise, and you're waiting for him for many episodes, that entrance was as grand as it gets, and I feel like it was wonderful, and he's like, the clown is back, bitches, and they fucking flee, abandoning Lily on her own. Major Hanlon and his homie are down in the sewers when all of a sudden they're like, do you hear that? And he holds up his sights again. Hanlon does, and he sees running around the corner his son Will. And he's like, you kill anything down here that seems unreasonable. And as he goes to pull the trigger, his friend jumps in front of it. He goes, I see him too. Gets killed, and there's this very emotional, brutal scene of his best friend dying in front of him. He almost killed his son because he thought it was an hallucination, but it wasn't. And then he's like, you kids got to get out of here. This is fucking insane. And while that happens, Lily's still running down there. Everyone seems to have fled. Lily is running down there when she gets cornered by the clown. He goes, you were crazy. You brought your friends down here to me, because that's what real friends are for. In Pennywise fashion, harassing her, taunting her, scaring her. And as he morphs his giant mouth and goes to kill her, coincidentally enough, luck be by her side. That's exactly where Daniel dropped his talisman, his dagger thing, and he stops and sees it and scurries away, and she picks it up and she's like, okay, I found something that this clown is afraid of. The aftermath of the sewers is subtle, but it's impactful. It shows that Major Hanlon, who has been kind of stone-faced the entire series, kind of held his composure well, seemed unbreakable. You could see he was scared. He's talking to his boss. He's like, I just got to be with my family. You see him slowly kind of unraveling throughout this episode, because his worst fear is his wife and his son getting hurt. The little kids, they're fucking traumatized by it all, but most importantly, the biggest thing is Dick Halloran comes stumbling out of the Barrens, and he sees like a zombified dead version of Hanlon's partner that got killed, and he looks at him, and the episode ends. But yeah, dude, these two episodes together were bangers back to back. Again, the origin of Pennywise and then the reveal of Pennywise. There was a lot of great jump scares, though episode 4 was more of a slow draw. I feel like between that mid-season finale to the mid-season opener of episode 5 in the sewers was awesome, and I feel like it's only going to get crazy. I feel like it's only going to get more brutal, and it's going to get more intense. I'm going to expand more on Dick Halloran, the little Easter eggs around the show, like the box. We're going to talk more about the kids, Pennywise, hopefully his origins and reasonings are more explained, and hopefully there's going to be a lot of carnage, a lot of blood, and a lot of fun. No one's safe on the show, and it's awesome. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe. Give me a thumb, hit that ding-a-ling button, so you tell you, hey, it's me, I'm here, and I'm going to say it one time for the one time and 2 times for the O's. Give me a hell yeah for horror.
Oh, ouchie kabibbles, that one always hurts every time. Why do I do that to myself? Oh, dude. That was fucking gnarly. Do you like a Pepsi I could bum or something? Dude, that review was fire! Finish the series. You just molested my mind. That was fucking sick. Who are you? Get the hell out of here. I said... Okay, I promise you. I'll tell you what. I will finish the series. I'll do episode 7 and 6 as a whole episode. And then season 8 and a finale of what I think about the entire series as a whole.
So 2 more videos coming. Are you cool with that? Okay, okay. I can settle for that. But in the meantime, if you don't fucking do it, I'm coming back. Okay, alright, just get the fuck out of here. I'm about to burn this bitch down. It'll be like the fucking black spot. And it'll be like the black spot in the 1930s. Ooh, a little bit of vague spoiler. Stephen King reference, ever heard of it? No, you're a fucking poser. Bye, sunshine. Oh. Your car is parked in the handicap. Get that checked out. That guy was a chuz.